2020 marked the 25th anniversary of CWC, the Center for Wireless Communications at UC San Diego. When it began, wireless was primarily second generation, or 2G, analog not digital, for voice, not data.
The mid-90s was an inflection point for communications technology worldwide.
Technologically speaking, that would land us somewhere between the old Stone Age and the Bronze Age. Wireless communications basically meant the ability to make a telephone call.
As time progressed, data started taking a large chunk of the total usage of wireless communication.
UC San Diego electrical engineering alumnus Kamal Sahota joined Qualcomm in 1993.
I was doing analog circuit design for CDMA phones.
Sahota later returned to campus to complete his master's in 1999 while still working at Qualcomm.
I was always interested in communications, and UCSD is one of the great schools, and we had a lot of great professors.
Another alumnus, Anton Monk, went on to finish his PhD in 1994 under Larry Milstein, founding director of the as-yet unnamed Wireless Center on campus.
My focus was on CDMA. You really couldn't build a modern communication system without having an understanding of spread spectrum and CDMA.
There were two revolutions, not one, but two.
Bob Kahn became dean of the School of Engineering in January 1994.
One was the internet, which was going to completely disrupt everything. We just didn't know quite how. And the second was the overtaking of landlines by wireless communications.
San Diego those days, was beginning to be known as the Wireless Valley.
Qualcomm was not yet 10 years old, but already a powerhouse. Kahn approached the company's co-founder and CEO, Irwin Jacobs, a former UC San Diego engineering professor.
I asked him to help bring to the school a group of all of the companies in the area that were interested in wireless communications. Well, I think more than 20 showed up, and I will say largely because of Irwin, but I would say also because they all knew they would need talent.
And that's where UC San Diego, with its history and its strengths in communications, came into play. There was a realization that if San Diego was going to be more than a location for one company that relied on government contracts, that you needed a larger ecosystem.
Looking back, getting CWC off the ground took nearly 2 years until 1995, when UC San Diego announced 7 founding industry partners, a dozen founding faculty, and its first permanent director, Anthony Akampora.
So it became apparent that the driving vision of the center would be one of wireless access to the internet. How we're going to break the umbilical and carry with us the equivalent of our laptop computer, except package it in something that was small, lightweight, didn't drain the battery too quickly, was capable of enormous bandwidth.
The Wireless Center at UCSD could really, be a major driving intellectual force for wireless in San Diego.
Larry Larson arrived in 1996 as the inaugural holder of the Communications Industry Endowed Chair funded by CWC companies, a chair now held by Gabriel Rebez. By 1998, Larson and 9 more new faculty recruits were participating in CWC's first research review. A year later, industry partners funded 7 projects leveraging matching funds from California's Communications Research Program.
The objective was to create a technological platform looking out 3 to 5 years that would provide fertile ground for industry to choose from when setting their own direction for product and service offerings.
The companies felt that they could harvest the value of the research, and we had a pretty good record of licensing our patents from CWC research.
Is because it's solely funded by our industry partners. We pay attention to what we can do together.
Importantly, CWC companies also gained access to great graduate students.
Every summer, for example, have a whole raft of students going off to various member companies. Many of them ended up having very good industry careers at those companies after they graduated.
Heading into a new decade, surging interest in wireless technology promised major advances. The decade began with CWC faculty winning major IEEE awards, including the 3rd Millennium Medal for Larry Milstein, Peter Asbeck receiving the David Sarnoff Award in 2003, and Information Theory Society Paper Awards going to Alex Vardy, Alon Orlitsky, and Young Han Kim. In 2000, CWC began hosting IEEE workshops, and the center attracted new industry affiliates, climbing to 17 member companies.
Everybody saw wireless as the future because the commercial application had just become well established.
Around this time, wireless companies were proliferating in San Diego. Case in point, Entropic Communications.
We started in 2001, we went public in 2007. I think it's one of the few fabless semiconductor companies in San Diego that actually went public.
Entropic co-founder Monk credits CWC's focus on communications and information theory as essential to San Diego's entrepreneurial wireless boom.
It's a huge help when it comes to launching companies in the wireless space. There's this direct link of using these foundational principles.
3G came and I think started really revolutionizing how we think of wireless.
CWC was a critical factor when UC San Diego competed with other UC campuses for a $100 million award from the state of California for advanced research institutes.
The Center for Wireless Communication was absolutely central to winning, period. It influenced the choice of what topic area the campus would choose. And we chose telecommunications and information technology.
Then CWC Director Ramesh Rao, who became director of the UC San Diego division of the California Institute for Telecommunications and Information Technology in 2001, says CWC's experience with companies gave the campus an edge.
We weren't starting from standstill. Having done the Center for Wireless Communications and having watched its growth, we knew how to work with an industry consortium.
In 2002, Ericsson and UC greenlit new projects on adaptive and CDMA systems, while Intel and HP sponsored work on ultra-wideband wireless. The following year, Peter Asbeck occupied the first of 6 new endowed chairs in wireless, funded by CWC partners as part of their commitment to Cal IT2. In addition to Asbeck's chair funded by Skyworks, a spin-off of Connexent, Qualcomm chairs went to Ramesh Rao, Alon Orlitsky, and wireless spectrum policy expert Peter Cowie, as well as Ericsson chairs to Bhaskar Rao and Larry Milstein. In 2005, CWC researchers achieved a world record efficiency above 50% for high-power cellular base station amplifiers. A year later, CWC renewed its focus on MIMO antenna systems, coding for wireless networks, and more. By the time Pamela Cosman took over as CWC director in 2006, several wireless companies were downsizing in San Diego and elsewhere.
There were certainly some companies which were reducing their presence in San Diego at that time. And also student enrollments were down, I think from about 2006 to 2009.
So things were a little slower. That was a challenge.
In 2007, Peter Asbeck was elected to the National Academy of Engineering, to be followed the next year by Paul Siegel and then by Gabriel Rebaiz in 2016. As 3.5G arrived, Rebaiz unveiled the world's most complex silicon phased array chip. And in 2008, CWC's Rene Cruz, co-founder of Mushroom Networks, accepted Connect's Most Innovative New Product Award in wireless. Both Mushroom Networks and Ortiva Wireless, the latter co-founded by CWC's Sujit Day, were among the first startups to be based on center research. CWC faculty and students presented 19 papers at 2009's RFIC and International Microwave Symposium. Many of CWC's former student researchers played key roles in 4G and then 5G innovations.
So I think we've trained probably thousands of students who are now in senior leadership positions in the wireless industry, making a phenomenal impact.
CWC's Rebaiz shared in the IEEE Krauss Antenna Award for his work on antennas and imaging arrays for millimeter wave and terahertz applications. Also in this decade, Rebaiz would receive the Daniel E. Noble Award for Emerging Technologies. Ian Galton took the ISSCC Lewis Winner Award. The Signal Processing Society's Technical Achievement Award went to Bhaskar Rao in 2016, and the Information Theory Society announced that its 2021 Claude E. Shannon Award would honor Alon Orlitsky. Meantime, CWC's Rebaiz and Tower Jazz demoed the first wafer-scale phased array with 16 different antenna elements operating at 110 gigahertz. and in 2014, CWC opened its first 5G forum on next-generation wireless systems and applications. The following year, Sujit Day succeeded Orlitsky as director and expanded the center's focus on wireless applications.
From 2015 onwards, we oriented ourselves not just doing fundamental research, which we are always excellent in doing, but asking the hard questions, and that's harder work.
I think it helps to connect to particular applications such as healthcare and the environment.
Also in 2015, member company Keysight and Rebase demoed a phased array transmitter that proved 5G capable of delivering record performance. 3 years later, CWC stepped up its focus on 5G-enabled applications in connected health and smart transportation.
We have widened our tent in doing that. We have been able to recruit companies that otherwise would not have joined CWC.
5G has enabled a whole new set of potential markets and verticals.
One of the most promising things that I pick up on 5G is this ultra low latency that allows millisecond latency guarantees. So remote surgery or mission critical things like autonomous driving.
The Internet of Things is one of the applications that people have in mind for very low power because they're envisioning lots and lots of devices in very close proximity to one another.
As commercial 5G began rolling out in 2019, CWC researchers were devising new approaches to the Internet of Things. And in 2020, they built new apps for contact tracing and for COVID-positive patients not requiring hospitalization.
In rolling out our COVID-19 platform in clinics in San Diego, I was surprised as how many people today, even today, do not have cell phones, do not have digital technologies. And so my worry is that as we roll out 5G, that it might create more digital divide.
Every major problem that mankind faces, I think, working with pandemics, working with food shortages, I think we have to figure out how to do that by taking advantage of this technology.
CWC expects that all of its constituencies, students, faculty, industry, can benefit from its current strategic direction.
Our industry partners can benefit tremendously because these students will not only be strong in terms of theoretical understanding and knowledge.
New technology is also bound to impact how and where CWC and the wireless industry go between now and the expected arrival of 6G in 2030.
Satellite delivery of wireless services, internet in particular, is starting to become more practical again. That's a real game changer for the wireless industry.
Maybe 10 years from now, when we look back, we should be more data-driven. It's time for machine learning to help wireless communications happen.
Meantime, CWC is growing and continues to play a key role in the Jacobs School with active support from current Dean Al Pisano in what is now ranked one of the top 10 graduate engineering schools in the nation.
It has continued to be relevant. It has continued to bond faculty, students, and postdocs together with research staff. It's basically a bedrock element of the strength of the School of Engineering to this day.
That's a trajectory that I think will be very, very exciting in this next 10 years and will have huge impact, health impact, economic impact, research impact.
And that impact should help CWC and its member companies as they embark on the center's next 25 years of research, education, and wireless innovation.